We're interviewing an amazing musician today. His name is Rylan. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, Prince's friend here, exploring music through Prince. I just want to say something real quick before I jump into the interview. If you like the fact that I've been coming around and doing these interviews, don't forget to hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe, don't forget to hit all of the amazing buttons like share, and you will be sure to continue getting all this great content from Prince's friend. All right, let's get into this interview. And today I have an amazing special guest here that I'm going to be interviewing and asking lots of questions for. I actually did a review for his EP last week called Chemical, and I have the amazing Rylan here with me. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. I've actually only recently gotten into your music. It's so good. So thank you for being here. And I know that you are, like, right now you're kind of gearing up for the launch of like a new single. It's called,
I am actually.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about Love or Drugs there, because that's your new single that you're coming out with.
It is. Yeah. It's very electro pop. It's a little funky, actually, kind of. It's like if industrial went funk, if you will. Yeah, it's just making fun of LA and Hollywood and all the things that people care about now that don't really matter. So it's basically that mentality of people. Why do people go out, to the club? It's either to like get messed up or get messed with. So that's exactly.
That's poetic, kind of, honestly.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's so tragic, isn't it? But it really is, because we can't connect to anything. So we just have to find something that's going to make us feel better. So it's basically just making fun of all of that.
And of course, like, it's not out yet. What are you doing? Like, there's probably like a bunch of like pent up energy and all kind. Like, what are you doing with these final days before like this big song is coming out?
I know there's actually a lot of stuff I have to do. So a lot of it's like the business side of it, because I'm an independent artist. So I kind of have to do everything that the label would be doing, like the promotion and the budgeting and the, video editing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's pretty much just like me in the lab on my laptop for a minute. But it's fun stuff. I get to, take our video and cut it up and make some cool teasers, and then I'm gonna do an acoustic video of the song, and yeah, so there's just a lot of different things going on, but it's fun. I'm really excited to actually get it out and share it, because there's so much that goes into making it and so much time that it takes to get something from the studio to the public. So yeah. I'm super excited.
Now, see, that's kind of information I didn't know that. I didn't know that you were such kind of a one-man operation here.
I do. I mean, I have a really good team. Two of them are right there. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Michael. I have a good close team. They're basically my family here. But yeah, I mean, when it's independent, you just kind of have to, do what you got to do, if that makes sense. You kind of learn to do by doing, I've been at home for 5 years and I've been independent the whole time. So it's just a matter of, gearing up and moving to the next place. But where I am right now, I'm super happy and I'm excited for all the music to come out.
Very cool. Like, I know, because we're getting really close. Are you doing any not work things? Because I know what it's like to have a job consume you.
Yeah, exactly. What do I do other than work? I'm a total nerd. So basically, if I'm not doing something, I would love to like veg out on the couch and watch Harry Potter marathons. Like, that's pretty much where I am. Or like a good music documentary, or Purple Rain. So there we are.
Purple Rain. You can always do that.
I know. Definitely. It's so good.
How did you end up getting hooked up with Randy Jackson?
Yeah, funny story, right? Well, weirdly enough, we're both from Louisiana, so that was a good one right there. But God, about 4 years ago, I was writing with my writing partner, Naz Tokyo. We actually did a song together called Blindfolds. If you see her, that's Naz.
Okay,
So we
yeah,
were
no, I loved
writing.
that song.
Oh, thanks, thank you. We were writing for ourselves and her project and my project and other artists. So at that time, Naz took me to Randy to have a meeting about writing for his new artists and listening to my stuff, and that was, oh God, yeah, 4 years ago. So since then, we just kind of stayed in contact. And then after my other management deal was over, I met with him, and it was so funny because it's like when people say, like, the moment you feel like it's over, it's like just beginning, basically. That's kind of what it was like. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for so long. It's worrisome. I don't, know what's happening. And then he was like, no, you're you. Let's do it. And I was like, thank you. So yeah, he's a super cool guy. He still says dog and dude. He's awesome. I'm
Yeah,
really
I've
grateful.
always thought that whoever you meet in life, like there's a reason that you met that person.
Oh, it's so true. It's
You
totally true.
know,
I mean,
even
yeah,
if they're terrible,
yeah,
and
no,
and like you
I
learn
mean,
how to deal with that terrible person at least, you know?
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what all of my songs are about. They're just all about usually terrible people, but maybe some other ones will come when I meet better people. But
So I knew that you were, singer, songwriter, dancer, obviously, because you dance amazingly.
oh, thank you.
And of course, now I'm learning that you're also like almost like your own label and you do all your own editing. I saw another interview with you where you make your own costumes.
I do.
So first off, congrats on all of that. I
Oh,
mean,
thank you.
there's so many other people who would be like, wait, I have to make my own jacket. No, thank you. I'm out of this.
Oh, thank you.
Um, but I know that you had listed Prince as one of your main influences,
Yeah.
which was, one of the reasons why I was like, oh, this is so cool that I actually, get to talk to somebody. And now that I know that you're even more of a one man kind of show, it almost like even more reinforces that you must have learned something from Prince. I mean, like, so tell us a little bit about kind of like Prince's impact on your life, your career, your creativity.
Yeah, well, I grew up on my parents' 70s glam rock and like 80s synth pop, pretty much. So growing up, I listened to David Bowie and Prince and Madonna and Boy George and George Michael and basically all anybody who was like the star of the 80s, I loved. And I always knew Prince's music, but as I got older, actually, I just kind of delved in, into what it is that he was famous for, which is everything. I mean, the funniest thing about it is like I always knew the songs and I knew the album. And then when I first moved to LA, the first movie I watched in my apartment was Purple Rain for the first time, actually, because I had never seen
Wow.
the movie. I know. And I was like, my mind was blown because it was just an amalgamation of like everything that he is. Um, but what I love about him is the fact that he created his own world besides just his own project, his side projects, Vanity Six, writing for other people like the Bengals. Like he was his own hero basically, and he created something that people could come into and that was different than reality. People could experience. He himself was an experience. So the fact that somebody could be a musician and a songwriter and a singer and a dancer and an actor and an entrepreneur was just so inspiring to me. And the fact that he always had creative control over what he was doing is a true testament to what an artist really is. So it's funny because I loved all the music growing up and that's what hooked me. And then as I got older, I realized that he himself was just such an incredible human and the reason why the music was so good, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is my job is delving that deep into
Yeah,
Prince.
yeah.
So,
No, I feel you. I
so
feel you.
not only did Prince, fight for control of his stuff, because he didn't always have it. He had to
No,
fight for it, and of course, that fight made it possible for others to realize that it was important to, own your own things and like
it's
be the
so
guy.
true. And it's
So
so funny you think like we're years later, but it's still such a fight to have to own that. Even with like streaming services, it's just you need to have as much control of your own material as possible so you can get oh God, like the 0.009 cents that you're owed per stream. So it's the same now too.
Yeah. Does you having like your own YouTube channel and going that route, does that give you more control than maybe going the record and like Apple Music
Yeah.
and all that stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, basically, I have creative control of everything I do since I'm independent. It's just a team that I have and Randy that are advising me and giving me advice that I actually take and that's good advice. It's like be you, but maybe try this. It's not don't be you, be this, if that makes
Right.
sense. So yeah, no, I do have creative control, and that's a blessing because I would much rather this take longer and be authentic than, you know, go a route where I am forced to sing a song I didn't write and something I don't believe in and dress a certain way and present myself as a fake person because I feel like
Yeah.
authenticity is what makes an act a legacy because you know who they are and they evolve, but you know the core bits of those people. You know what I mean? Being able to do it yourself and say this is who I am is really what makes your career.
And that's obvious too, because just looking at some of the other some of the other performers and musicians that you kind of listed also as your major influences, like Lady Gaga and Nine Inch
Right.
Nails, things
Right.
like that. Which of course, like someone would think like Lady Gaga and Nine Inch Nails. That's such a weird amalgamation there.
Right.
So I've seen those kind of listed, but like how much influence do they have on your creative sound and everything directly versus maybe just kind of as inspirations as like popular musicians?
Right. I mean, I think a lot of I pick different pieces from my inspirations. Like all my 80s influences are the fact that they, like Prince, like Madonna, like Bowie, were so larger than life. They created something that wasn't even seen before. Like no one thought that, your whole band could dance with you while you're performing. It's very Motown, but it was so new wave at the same time. And then, just saying wild things and expressing yourself in a way that wasn't, socially accepted pretty much is where I kind of fall. I think I was always like a misfit theater kid. So seeing those 80s influences is kind of how I see myself as an overall artist. But yeah, I mean Gaga pretty much did it, 10 years ago when no one was doing it, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
so I think her fearlessness and her like sensibility of pop writing is something that I'm very inspired by. And Nine Inch Nails, I think it's the grit and the darker lyricism and the sounds because Trent was doing something that no one was doing back then. It was industrial, but it was very electronic and very experimental. And nowadays, you're finally starting to see those sounds come into pop music. So it's exciting. I feel like I'm hopefully onto something with that. But yeah, I mean, every influence has its overarching through line, which
Yeah.
is they were all performers. Like amazing performers. It translated from what they were saying in the studio to the stage.
So first, I want to ask you a couple of questions about Chemicals,
Sure.
because Chemicals was really cool, and I think that was your first like really big thing that you did, right?
Yes. Yes, it was.
How much? So obviously, you said that you've had like creative control kind of all over, everything that you've done. I did see some notes that you had co-written a lot of those songs on there. So can you tell me a
Right.
little bit about the creative process behind Chemicals directly?
Yeah, so that EP came from me working with Naz Tokyo and the producer that she came up under in Atlanta, Dallas Austin, who was like a super duper pop producer. So he was the guy who founded TLC and
I knew I'd heard that name somewhere
yeah,
before. Yeah.
exactly. And Monica and basically did Gwen Stefani's solo career and Pink's solo career and like Madonna in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Like My Baby's Got a Secret. Yeah, he was someone who like I had always known his songs. I never met him. And so to basically come up under him and learn how to write and produce with like a master like that was amazing. So Yeah, we did all the songs together, except for one that I wrote myself, I Will Never Change.
I've been wishing I would learn to listen, that I'd stop missing the boys and girls I'm kissing. But I know when my body stops, my heart beats the same, the same. So I will.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a theater kid at the end of the day. So like me and the keys is kind of where I thrive, I think, in my writing style. But yeah, I mean, it was great. It was literally just me stream of consciousness, like vomiting all of my inspirations and influences and coming up with something that was pop, but a little left of center and kind of experimental and theatrical. So, but it was great. It was a great experience. I learned a lot, and I'm proud of the music that's on that EP.
You should be.
Oh, thank you.
You definitely should be. After Chemicals was when you started mostly focusing on YouTube content and like singles. So,
Right.
so I when I went and checked out your because I got the EP and I was like, this EP is really cool. Let me see what else I can find. So on the YouTube channel, you have like a lot of covers and whatnot on there. Do you have a favorite video that's up on your YouTube channel?
Oh God, the ones that haven't come out yet. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, honestly, we're in such a different space music-wise now. It's social media has completely changed that. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation for better or for worse, but it has. And so people want content and they want it immediately, and they want things that are different and versatile. So it's not just the same thing all the time, if that makes sense. It's not just original music. They want to hear you sing a cover. They want to see you dance to somebody else's song. They want to see you talk about what you did on a Tuesday. Like, you know, it's very different. So I kind of played into that a little reluctantly, but I did some cover videos that I think are kind of cool because they're not the usual, you know, let me sit down with my guitar and sing to my laptop. It was a little bit more produced and interesting. I mean, I like the Look What You Made Me Do one where I'm just killing myself the whole time. It's like two of me and I'm stabbing myself, which is fun.
Oh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Look what you just made me do. Look what you just made me do. Look what you...
Don't you ever feel like that sometimes? You're just like, oh,
I think we all do. I think we all
attack myself. But no, I mean, I really, the blindfolds video, I think, is something I'm super proud of. I did Naz and I did the treatment together. And yeah, it was basically our little baby. So that was super cool. Yeah, I'm excited for new stuff coming out because there's a lot of new content that I'm about to release. You know, that's what I am. I'm a musician. So that's really what I want to show more than anything.
I want to jump into that now. So I kind of want to jump into the new single, which is Love or Drugs. And that single's dropping audio this week and in video next week. But of course, I have like a little snippet of the video, which is
really
cool. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We have the exclusives.
Oh, nice.
Was it purposeful, kind of the approach to using it as a way to make fun of the LA scene there?
Always. I mean, when I never like belonged as a kid in high school. I went to like a small preppy Southern school, and clearly that's not really, you know, my aesthetic, if you will. So when I moved to LA, I was so excited because I was like, it's a artist town. You know, people are gonna respect me. People are gonna love how different everything is. You know, everyone kind of belongs because they never belonged before.
Right.
But I was very wrong. It's so cliquey. That's kind of hard because honestly, music is very social, if that makes sense. And in terms of what you have to do, you know, behind the scenes and talking to people and trying to meet people and I don't know, get your name out there. I never feel comfortable doing that. I'm good on the stage. Like, I'll let that speak for itself. So me trying to do that in Los Angeles as a 19-year-old was nearly impossible. So yeah, it's very purposeful. All of my songs are pretty satirical, but I think that is something that's a little lost nowadays, and that's what I loved. I mean, Gaga's The Fame was completely satirical.
Yeah.
She wasn't actually saying, you know, I want to be famous. She was like, I'm an artist, and I'm going to make fun of the system in order to do it. Even back to Prince, I mean, Controversy is one of my favorite songs. And I love the fact that he's poking fun at all the things that people would say about him and playing into it. I mean, I think it's almost like if you can't beat them, join them type of a thing. Like, I want to make people laugh at it and then laugh at themselves and not know that they're laughing at themselves, if that makes sense.
Listening to your music, I remember the first time I listened to it and I was like, I don't know if this is for me. It's too dancey and it sounds too happy. And then I was like, but wait, what was that thing he just said? Oh wait.
Yep.
And
yeah, that's,
you know, so
that's
for me,
kind of the goal.
you know, I dig. It's like it's darker moods, darker themes, but it's packaged in this kind of dancey pop, and it's disconcerting if you're not ready for it. But then as soon as you're like, this is pretty cool, it like opens up a whole other world of like a different experience. So
oh, thank you. Yeah, it's like a poison candy apple. That's kind of how I like to think of it.
I love it.
I'm the evil hag from Snow White.
I love your vibe because I dig kind of a counterculture. I get that from you. Like you know, people are over here doing this thing, so I'm gonna go do that thing. And
right.
Like, that's also part of the reason that like I really dig what you're doing. So
thank you.
You know, and of course, in my mind, everything is inspired by Prince. I'm sure you have other people who are inspiring
you're
you.
Not wrong though.
But like, so can you tell me like your favorite? I know you just mentioned Controversy, but can you tell me your favorite Prince project that he's done? And obviously, and he was out for, you know, almost 40 years, so there's lots to pick from.
Right.
But
I mean, the 80s are his heyday. I mean, that's my favorite Prince. I know there's argument for 90s Prince, which is great as well. But I'm an 80s Prince fan. Controversy is my favorite album. I think it's genius, and I love the song. And, you know, the plays with sex and religion and race and politics. It was just like everything that you could throw into something and make it sound cute and fun and psychedelic was in that album. But I really do like the singles, just the fact that Little Red Corvette is so irreverent, but it's so pop, if that makes sense. Like that is what I love about him, is the fact that he did all of these different sounds and all these different projects, and all of that was so out there and different than what was going on, but all of the songs still had that pop sensibility, and everyone was still singing them, even if they didn't even know what they were singing about. That's my favorite part of music, is that you are, you know, influencing people. It's almost like you're playing with them, if that makes sense. And I don't mean that in like a malicious way. I mean that in a good way, because you're actually opening their mind subconsciously and they don't really realize it. So yeah, I think Controversy is still my favorite. But honestly, I mean, I bought his, what was it, Artificial Age, right?
Yeah, Artificial Age, yeah.
I loved that album. I thought it was genius. And it reminded me of that kind of earlier Prince vibe. I love the fact that he came out doing something completely different that was still very him, yes, when no one was doing that nowadays. That to me was like the cherry on top of what an artist really is, because a lot of even legends back from that day, when they come out with something new, they try to go with a trend and try to do what's happening, and it fails because that's not who they are. That's
actually part of kind of a double album set.
Right.
Because one album, Artificial Age, was him. And then the other one was him and Third Eye Girl. And they actually were opposed to each other, whereas him and Third Eye Girl was rock. Like, it was them, and they were a full band doing rock music.
And they performed on SNL, right?
They did. They did.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But at the same time, he coupled a pure rock instrumental album with Artificial Age, which was more of an electronic album. So it makes sense why you loved that album specifically so much, because it's almost that thing that speaks right to the type of music that you do. Because it had kind of, some of those tracks were kind of darker, and some, you know, some were very dancey
they were
stuff.
very edgy. I really liked them. I mean, it was cool to see someone, you know, who people would argue the heyday is, you know, gone, come out and do something that is better than the trend that's currently happening, if that makes sense. Like, it fits with it, but it's even better. It elevated it. It didn't, you know, make it sound cheesy or dated or anything. It was, it was super cool.
You answered that question expertly.
Well, thank you.
So Love or Drugs is coming out. And so first I listened to it, because that's what I always do. I always listen to stuff first.
Right.
So I was listening to it, and I was just like, this is pretty cool. And I was like, all right, so the next step is the lyrics. And then I was just like, oh, it almost seems like it's glorifying drugs. And then I watched the video, and I'm like, oh no, he's saying like, you're dumb. You know, so it's like, so I was like, yeah, see, so there's like layers to it, which I really, really dig.
Right.
Is this going to be the first single to a new project, or is this kind of like Money Talk, where it's kind of its own thing?
No, this is the start of the project that I'm putting together. I mean, I think, unfortunately, we're in a singles market right now where it's all about likes and streams and follows and algorithms and statistics. And the one thing that surpasses all statistics is actual music and what people like. And so I think as an artist, it's really important to have a project you're creating, even if it is just a single. But no, this is the start of my project. And I kind of call it my LA fantasy world, if you will. It's kind of how I see Los Angeles and what I wish it looked like and how I feel like it looks. You know, it's the juxtaposition of that video for Love or Drugs is the party that I've never been invited to here, that I'll never go to because I'm never going to fit in. And that's what I hope it looks like, because at least I would enjoy what it looked like, if that makes sense. So everything is a heightened version of actual events. There's a song I wrote called Billionaire's Girlfriend, which is how I just wish sometimes that I was a billionaire's girlfriend so I could afford all the things that people can do when they are. And then there's another one called I Feel Nothing. There's another one called Anti-Socialite, playing on culture and basically looking from the outside and trying to fit in there, and then seeing what it's like for someone who's such an outcast like myself to try those different situations. Is
it going to be another EP, or is this going to be possibly a larger album down the line?
Well, right now it's just singles. But I have things cooking. So
okay. Nothing you can share here.
Everything. There is a bigger picture to everything. I promise.
I'm down. I'll definitely be following.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Rylan, thank you so much for coming on Prince's Friend and talking with us about not only your own career, but also your love of Prince. Like, I love the idea of talking with people who Prince inspired indirectly, like myself. Like, you know, I wouldn't have this channel or be doing anything that I'm doing today if it wasn't for Prince. And it's not like I talked to Prince and he said, hey, you should totally do a YouTube channel. You know, it was, you know, but
no, I feel you.
You know what I mean? So I really appreciate your time and you coming in and talking with us. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. This was great. And it's great to talk about a legend and remind people not to forget, you know?
Exactly. Hey, everybody, I hope that you enjoyed that interview as much as I did. It was an amazing time, and I want to thank Rylan once again for being here with me. Don't forget to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/princessfriend, where you can support the channel for as little as $2 a month. Every dollar helps, and may you live to see the dawn.